friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. I've been canning for years now, and let me tell you, not every recipe that goes into a jar gets used regularly around here. I have shelves full of experimental recipes that seemed like a good idea at the time, but they just sit there collecting dust, unfortunately. But then there are those recipes that disappear from my pantry faster than I can replace them. These are the jars that turn a basic weeknight meal into something special, and the ones that makes those hours of canning feel totally worth it. And that's what I want to bring you today. 5 of my absolute favorite canning recipes that save me some serious time in the kitchen, like having caramelized onions ready to go for pizza night, or a mild salsa and canned meats that make Taco Tuesday come together in minutes. So if you want to add some reliable canning projects to your pantry that are worth your time and ingredients, hang out with me for the next few minutes and I'll give you all the recipes. Let's get started. First up is caramelized onions. These are absolute game changers, and I use them in pretty much anything and everything. Pizza, Philly cheesesteaks, any recipe that calls for onions, and I just don't happen to have any on hand. These make everything taste just, well, better. Now, I need to tell you up front, this recipe uses butter, which deviates from tested recipes. If you're brand new to canning, I recommend sticking to the tested recipes. This is for more experienced canners who understand the safety principles involved and why the amount of butter I'm using compared to the amount of onions and liquid in the recipe is okay. So here's what you'll need for a 20-pound batch. 20 pounds of onions, sliced into strips, 2 sticks of salted butter, 1 cup of balsamic vinegar, and half a cup of brown sugar. If you want to make a smaller batch, just cut everything in half or even quarter it. I cook these in my countertop roaster oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit, stirring every couple hours until they're nice and brown. The balsamic vinegar helps with that browning and adds incredible flavor. Now these get pressure canned in half-pint jars with between half-inch to 1-inch headspace for 75 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. That's if you live at or below 1,000 feet elevation. For all of the recipes in this video, be sure to reference your elevation and adjust time or pounds of pressure if needed. Now, real quick, if everything I just said sounds confusing, or if you're brand new to canning and it still feels just really intimidating, we have an online self-paced canning class that will walk you through all the safety aspects you need to know about canning and get you started with step-by-step beginner-friendly recipes. If you're interested, comment canning class below and I'll send you the link where you can check it out. Okay, next recipe is mild salsa. I searched for years, and I'm that's not an overstatement, years to find a mild salsa that my whole family would love, and this one finally made it into my permanent recipe book, and I gotta tell you, I am very happy to no longer be searching for one. This salsa has no jalapenos, no hot peppers, but it's still packed with flavor. Here's what you'll need: 16 cups of peeled and diced tomatoes, 5 cups of chopped onions, any variety you like, 3 cups of chopped sweet bell peppers, again, any color variety you like, 10 teaspoons minced garlic, 4 teaspoons cumin, 3 teaspoons black pepper, a 1/4 cup of canning salt, 2/3 cup sugar, and 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. Don't use white vinegar here. The flavor difference is very noticeable and very different, so trust me on this and stick to the apple cider vinegar. And then 2 16-ounce cans of tomato sauce and 2 16-ounce cans of tomato paste. This recipe is going to make you about 12 to 13 pints total. Again, the apple cider vinegar is really what makes this salsa special. It not only provides the acidity for safe water bath canning, but it tastes so much better than white vinegar. It's important to stick to these measurements for safety purposes since we're relying on that vinegar for proper acidity. You can go lower on the lower acid ingredients like the onions and peppers, but don't increase their amounts. As for how to make it, just bring it all to a boil and cook it for 10 minutes at a gentle boil, and then water bath can for 15 minutes, leaving a 1/2-inch headspace. We use this for snacking with chips and as a cooking base for just about all of our Tex-Mex style meals. I've even used it as a base in chili before. Okay, number 3 is canned meats. This includes chicken, ground beef, ground venison, cubed beef, beef stew, cubed venison. Just having pre-cooked meats on the shelf is a total dinner lifesaver. For ground meats like ground beef or ground venison, here's what you need for approximately 8 pints. 7 to 8 pounds of ground meat, 1 teaspoon of beef broth powder per pint jar, And if I'm canning venison, I like to sprinkle in a little bit of Old Bay seasoning for wild game. It really makes it taste delicious. I would say about half a teaspoon for pints and 1 teaspoon for quarts. The key with canning ground meat is that you only cook it to about 80% doneness. You'll still see some pink when you break it apart, and you're ready to can at that point. Use a slotted spoon to strain out as much of the grease as possible before filling your jars. For raw packed chicken, and this is raw packed chicken, raw packed beef, or venison, you'll need your fresh meat cut into chunks, and then 1 teaspoon of either salt or something like a chicken broth powder per pint jar. Double that if you're doing quarts. With raw packed chicken, you pack it in tight with about 1 to 1.5 inch headspace, and you don't add any liquid. The chicken produces its own liquid as it cooks. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but with the ground meat, you do add water. You could do broth, but you fill up the jars to about 1 inch headspace before canning. I want to be sure to mention that. We have very detailed videos on all of the recipes that I am showing you today, and those will be linked in the description box. So whether it is ground meat or cubed, the time is the same. They both need to be pressure canned at 10 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes for pints. The beauty of pressure canning chicken, especially if you happen to raise your own chickens, is that it makes even tough older roosters, they make them as tender as can be. I reach for these jars constantly, like quick chicken salad, ground meat for tacos, soup base, casseroles. It's just no more forgetting to take meat out of the freezer to thaw, and it's already cooked, so the meals come together really quickly. Okay, recipe number 4 is onion broth, and this is made from scraps, so it's essentially free to make. Throughout the year, I save onion peels and tops in the freezer, and when I have enough, I make a huge batch of this broth. I use my countertop roaster oven, and here's what goes into the pot. Your onion skins and peels, just be sure to clean them really well. Any green onion tops that you might have. I usually throw in about 2 whole onions just to really pack in that onion flavor. Salt and pepper to taste, 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder, and then water. You just need to completely submerge all of the solids, and of course that water amount is going to vary depending on how much scraps that you have. When it comes to onions, I did want to mention that I don't use the root ends. They're really hard to clean properly, and that's where bacteria tends to hide. But I cook this overnight in my roaster oven at about 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and then strain out all of the solids. The turmeric gives it a beautiful golden flavor, and it adds the health benefits too, and since you have the pepper in there, it really works to unlock those benefits of the turmeric. But this gets pressure canned in quart jars for 25 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. You want to leave about 1 inch of headspace, and since this is completely liquid, I just shake the jars a little bit to remove the air bubbles instead of using like a debubble tool. The flavor is incredible, so much better than store-bought broth. I use it for soups, especially cooking rice and anything that a recipe calls for broth. We go through this stuff like crazy. Okay, and the last but not least is our Coleslaw Starter. Now, you can't safely can actual coleslaw because of the mayonnaise, but this is basically a relish with cabbage that lets you make fresh coleslaw in minutes. I first saw this recipe over at Whippoorwill Holler, and our family has used and loved it ever since. Here's what you need for approximately 8 pints. 14 cups of shredded cabbage, 2 large carrots shredded, 1 large onion chopped, 1 to 2 medium-sized sweet bell peppers chopped, and 1/4 cup of salt. This salt, that's a lot of salt, but it's just for drawing out moisture, which I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So for the brine, you need 8 cups of vinegar, 4 cups of water, 6 to 7 cups of sugar, 2 tablespoons of mustard seed, and 2 tablespoons of celery seed. Now to make, you're going to salt the vegetables. You're basically just get all your vegetables together, put them in a really large bowl, pour that quarter cup of salt over the surface and kind of massage it in there, or get a wooden spoon and just mix it around. And then you're just going to let that veggie mixture sit for about 2 hours to give that salt time to draw out moisture. Then you will rinse it and drain it. After you're done at that point, you can bring the brine to a boil. You could even be doing this before your 2-hour salt time is up. But bring the brine to a boil, Add that vegetable mixture and cook it for 10 minutes. And then you need to water bath can for 10 minutes, leaving a half an inch headspace. To use it to make coleslaw, I just drain off the vinegar. Sometimes I rinse it underwater if I don't want it to maintain that tanginess, but sometimes I do. It just depends on the recipe and what will kind of match the flavors best. But you want to mix enough mayonnaise to just achieve your desired texture. Some people like very light mayonnaise dressing on their coleslaw. Some people like it drenched in it. So just add mayonnaise to whatever desired you like. If you make coleslaw, you know that it typically has some vinegar in it, typically has some sugar, salt, pepper, all of those things, but all of that is in our brine, and it's been soaked up into that relish all of this time while sitting on the shelf. So you will be amazed at just how flavorful this coleslaw is by only mixing it with mayonnaise. That's all I do when I go to serve it. And it is a perfect side dish that's ready in minutes, especially when you're making a barbecue, or just a quick weeknight side with some mashed potatoes and salad and, I don't know, chicken thigh, something like that. It's really great. Okay, so there you have it, 5 canning recipes that get used over and over in our house. The key is choosing recipes that solve real problems in your kitchen. If you keep forgetting to thaw meat in time for supper, can some meats. Do you do something like a Taco Tuesday in your house? Then can your own salsa. You'll never want to buy store-bought again. If you cook with broth a lot, add some serious flavor to your dishes by doing the onion broth. The key is don't just can things because you see someone else do it. Can things you'll actually reach for when you are cooking regularly. But with that said, we don't really know what those go-to recipes will be for us until we try them. I mean, it's just all one big experiment, one big happy experiment. If you're just getting started, I recommend beginning with the salsa. It is so easy to make. And even though the meats are pressure canned, they're really easy too. Many of these recipes are available in printable format on our blog, and I will put those links in the description box. Don't forget to comment canning class if you're ready to learn how to can safely with confidence. We will walk you through it. That's all for today. We'll see you next time. Bye.